Okay, just welcome to this series of short interviews with Unison's Labour Link. Today we're going to be talking to Labour's candidate in the Eastern region, who is Dr. Nick Johnson, who is standing for the Cambridgeshire and Peterborough mayoral election. So thanks for speaking to us today, Dr. Nick. Obviously, Unison members provide lots of public services across loads of service groups, local government and social care and the health sector, which I know you work in, police and support staff across Cambridgeshire, lots of areas of public service. Politics aside, just tell us a little about yourself.
Well, first of all, thanks for inviting me to have a chat to yourself and the Unison Union members. So everybody generally knows me as Dr. Nick. I'm a children's doctor in Huntingdon, Hinchinbrook Hospital, been there for almost 15 years and recognise the NHS as sort of the fantastic employer and sort of institution that the British public love. But it only is successful because, within it, we have a great family. And a lot of that family is made up of Unison members who provide so much more than just when people talk about the NHS, it's just doctors and nurses. It's so much, much, much more than that. We have to recognise that through the last year and the whole COVID-19 pandemic crisis, we've been just as reliant on the portering staff, on the front of house staff, on the catering staff. Man, at Hinchinbrook, how important they were in terms of keeping us, the army going on a full stomach. But, it's also administration staff, and as well as all the other clinical members around, the occupational therapists, the physiotherapists, that's where I stand. I'm very much part of the public service that is in the NHS.
Thanks, Nick. That's great. So, Unison members and their families and colleagues want to see a strong public services. So, what will you achieve if you're elected as the next mayor of Cambridgeshire and Peterborough?
Well, I've made a big virtue of talking about 3 C's. I want to make sure that all future policy in terms of the development of the combined authority across Cambridgeshire and Peterborough is based on compassion, cooperation, and the idea of building a community and a stronger community. I think over the last year, we have recognised that in order to get through the COVID-19 pandemic crisis, we can only do it by working collaboratively. And the strength of our country comes in our public services. Now, that's not just the NHS, but it's how our teachers work together to provide ongoing, fantastic education, how people work in the prison services, how people work in probationary services, we alongside police and support networks. They can only succeed if we work together. And as we recover, I think the big thing that I'm going to put at the front of all of the campaign strategy is the importance of public health and how we bring the importance of how we look after each other and how we work with all government decisions, be it in terms of development about transport strategies, the idea of improved social housing, and how that will work for all within community, not just the few.
Thanks, Nick. That's great. And just finally, really, just the last question, let's get specific. Just tell us about one policy proposals in particular, which is really important to you.
As I've already alluded to it, I'm from a health background, and if there's one thing we've learned is that health is so important to the economic welfare of our country, as well as our own physical health. So I can see an argument where public health, and particularly those people who make decisions around how we develop our communities, strategies that will improve the health of our nation and indeed the health of our local population. I'd love to see more priority around cycling. I'd like to see a more priority about green spaces and the idea of encouraging people to kind of work and live their lives in a way that is much more beneficial and is basically rebalanced. There's not been an awful lot of good points over the last year, but we can recognise that some of the home working advantages and bringing that into the way that we conduct our lives, both in kind of our free time as well as our working lives, can be brought to the benefit of all in Cambridgeshire and Peterborough.
Excellent. Thanks, Nick. And good luck in the election.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you for your time. Thank you to your members.